Do you hear?
We hear.
It was the feast of St. Stephen, and old Tieg sat alone by the fire, with naught in his cupboard save a pinch of tea and a bear mixing a meal, and a heart inside of him as soft and warm as the ice on the water bucket outside the door. For you see, on the feast of St. Stephen, that's the night when the vagabonds and the paupers come knocking at your door, asking for a bit of food to eat or maybe a warm seat by the fire. But your man Tieg, he thought himself clever, for he had taken all the gold that he had and buried it there in the corner. And he said to himself, "If ye have not to give, then not be asked of ye." But then he fell to thinking of old Barney, who lived not a stone's throw just across the way. For you see, for a score of years past on the feast of St. Stephen, your man Tieg, he'd go to the threshold of his own door, and he'd make a hollow of his two hands, and he'd call out to Barney, "Hey there, Barney, will you be coming over for a sup?" And your man Barney would be grabbing the crutches, there being but one leg to him, and he'd come on over across the way. But not this year. Not this year, for this year, your man Tieg, he had the greed wrapped tight around his heart. And he fell to thinking about the gold buried in the corner again. Do you hear?
We hear.
Well, he was sitting there a while when a knock came at the door. It was the widow O'Donnelly's voice. "Hey, widow O'Donnelly."
Aye, widow O'Donnelly.
Tieg. Tieg, if you're there, would you open the door? I've not got to pay for the spring this month, and the children needing food. But your man Tieg, he just lowered himself so the shadow would cover him, put the leash to his tongue, he spoke not a word. Tieg? Tieg? And she went on her way. Well, after she had gone, your man Tieg, he got up and he tight barred the door. But a few moments later, another knock came at the door, and this time 'twas a stranger's voice. Master, will you take us in, the two of us? The wind bites mortal sharp, not a morsel of food have we tasted this day. Master, will you take us in? But your man Tieg sat perfect still. Let me see you sitting perfect still. All the other cabins are filled. Not but one has its hearts crowded, sir. And then he heard the stranger's feet going on their way. Do you hear?
We hear.
The next thing he heard were more footsteps of Cassie, the miller's wee daughter. Hey, Cassie.
Aye, Cassie.
And Cassie came running on by. And as she ran on by, she called out to the door there and she goes, Tieg, you won't be forgetting Barney now, will you, Tieg? He's keeping an eye out for you. And then the girl, she broke into a bit of a song. It went something like this. Listen, all ye, 'tis the feast of St. Stephen. Mind that ye keep it this holy even. Open your door and greet ye the stranger. For ye mind that the wee Lord had naught but a manger. Feed ye the hungry, rest ye the weary. This ye must do for the sake of our Mary. 'Tis well that ye mind ye who sit by the fire. For the Lord he was born in a dark and cold byre. When your man Tieg heard the song, the anger had him and he says, a million murdering curses on those that won't let me be. Why can't a man try to keep what is his without being pestered by those that have idled and wasted their days? And it was then that the strange thing happened. Do you hear?
We hear.
Your man Tieg saw hundreds of wee lights dancing at the window. Let me see the lights there. Let me see him there. Let me see him. That's it. Hundreds of wee lights dancing at the window. And then he looked up, and the two hands of the clock, they were chasing each other around the dial. And the bolt of that door, it lifted and drew itself out. And that door opened without a creak or a cringe. And in trooped a crowd of the good people, the fairies. They had their green cloaks wrapped tight about them, each one with a rush candle in hand. Let me see them there. When your man Tieg saw them, he was filled with a wonderment entirely. But when they saw him, they merely laughed. Let's hear him. We'll be taking the load of your cabin this night, Tieg, as you're the only one hereabouts with an empty heart, and we're a needing one. In trooped more of the good people. They started sitting themselves round by the chimney place there. They lengthened the table, spread and set it up. The pipers come in. They started blowing the chanters, trying the drones. The feasting began and the pipers played, and your man Tieg had never seen such a sight in all his days. Now, if you think the story's a bit strange or odd, John, it's going to get a bit odder still. For all at once, one of the wee men, he stands up and he calls out, "Clip, clap, clip, clap, I wish I had my wee red cap." And a cap comes floating out of the air for himself, looking not unlike this one, only it being red in colour. When the next moment, the wee man, he claps the cap on his head and he says, "I wish I were in Spain," and whoosh, up that chimney he went. What happened just as I'm telling it? And then another one calls for his cap, whoosh, after the first, and then another, whoosh, and then another, whoosh, help me out here, and then another, whoosh, and then another, whoosh, and then another, whoosh, and then another, whoosh. Until all at once, your man Tieg is back alone in the cabin. By my soul, I wouldn't mind travelling that way myself. It's a grand savings on tickets and baggage, indeed it is. Oh, faith, there's no harm done if I try it. And so the old man sings out, "Clip, clap, clip, clap, I wish I had my wee red cap." And a cap comes floating down out to the thin air right there in front of him. In the next moment, he puts it upon his head and he cries out, "Spain!" Whoosh, up the chimney he went, and by the time he lets out his breath, he's standing there in the middle of Spain. Oh, and with strangeness all about him. Outside every doorway, flowers. The air is thick with the scent of them. The sweetmeat sellers are going about crying their wares, crying their wares. And outside the cathedral, on the steps of the cathedral, your man Tieg sees a crowd of beggars. And Tieg, he asks one of the wee men nearby, he says, "Oh, what's the meaning of that? What's the meaning of those beggars there?" And the wee man answered him, "Eh, wee man?"
Aye.
The wee man answers, he goes, "They're waiting. They're waiting for those who are hearing the Mass. For on this night of all the year, none should go hungry and none should go cold. And so they'll be sure to get a bit of something when the people come out of the Mass." And in the next moment, down in the darkness of a street, your man Tieg could hear the voice of a girl singing, "Listen, all ye, 'tis the feast of Saint Stephen. Mind that ye keep it this holy even." And your man Tieg says, "Oh, what kind of song fly after you?" But in the next moment, he heard the fairies calling out, "Holland!" And he called out Holland too. In one step, he was over France. In another, past Belgium. And in a third, he was standing near long ditches of water, frozen fast. And there were young lads and maids gliding upon the ice there. Let me see him gliding upon the ice. Oh, a beautiful sight seeing him there. And outside every doorway, your man Tieg, he saw a wee wooden shoe, empty. And once more, he says to one of the wee men, he says, "Hey, what's the meaning of those shoes there?" And the wee man says, "Hey, wee man."
Aye, wee man.
He says, "You poor lad, are you not knowing anything? For tonight is the gift night of the year, when every man and every woman gives to their neighbour." And just then, in one of the cabins, he could see inside there was a girl. She had a candle in hand, and she was going lighting another candle in the window. And as she walked, she sang, "Open your door and greet ye the stranger, for ye mind that the wee Lord had not but a manger." And Tieg hearing this says, "Whoa!" Let's hear him. "Whoa! Oh, I'm for another country." Well, I cannot be telling you. I cannot be telling you half the sights they saw, nor half the places they visited that night. If I did, we'd be here past the midnight hour. But I will tell you this much. They passed by fields where people had put out sheaves of grain for the wee creatures. They saw doorsteps where bowls of porridge had been put out for the animals. They passed by many a church where people were bringing their gifts to the Holy Mother and Child. And at last, he heard the fairies cry out, "And now for the great hall in the King of England's palace!" Whoosh, and away they went, and your man Tieg went with them. And he landed there. Oh, he was in a great hall entirely, filled with lords and ladies. Let me see the lords and ladies. A little bit raising of the nose there, a little bit there, yes. Oh, filled with lords and ladies. But that's not all. For you see, the great hall doors were open, so that the poor and hungry might come in and be fed. Many a hungry soul was served by the king's very hand. And folks would offer back what they could in turn. Maybe a snatch of a song. Maybe just a few kind words of thanks or wishes for good health. And your man Tieg was so taken up with the watching that he never noticed when the fairies wished themselves away. Nor did he notice the one girl who was well fed until she was walking out through the great hall door. And he could hear as she sang, "Feed ye the hungry, yes, ye the weary, this ye must do for the sake of our Mary." What the anger had your man Tieg. He'd heard this song just one too many times. And so he took the cap from his head and he said, "I'll stop your pestering tongue once and for all." And he hurled the cap at the girl. Children, ladies, gentlemen, all, this was a very terrible and grave mistake. Do you hear?
We hear.
For the moment that cap left his head, they saw a man where they saw no man before. And now all the people in the great hall were looking after him, and they were saying, "Who's he? What does he here? Bring him before the king." And with that, 100 hands were upon him, dragging him before the king's throne. And they all started talking at once. He was stealing the king's jewels. He was robbing the king for sure. He looks evil. Kill him. Oh, kill him. Kill him. Kill him. And your man Tieg, he just stood there. The two knees took to trembling. This time fear put the leash to his tongue. Well, the king stood there, and the king looked down at Tieg. Hey, king!
Aye, King.
Do you hear?
We hear.
And Tieg looked up at the king, and he did finally manage to speak, and he says, Your Honor, Your Majesty, Your Reverence, I have done evil to no one. To no one. And the king answered and said, Maybe, but have ye done good? If ye have given aught to anyone this night, we shall pardon ye. Has your man Tieg done a bit of good? I'm asking you a fair and civil question. Has your man Tieg done a bit of good?
No!
No, he's done no good at all. So he just stands there. And the king then speaks again. Very well, then ye must die. Will ye try hanging or beheading? Hanging, please, your majesty. And with that, 2 guards are upon him. And they're dragging him out through the great hall doors. But then his thought sprang at your man Tieg. And he calls out over his shoulder, he says, Your Majesty, your Reverence, will you grant me one last wish, one last request? If it is reasonable, I shall. Well, there's a wee red cap that I lost hereabouts, and if I could be hung with it on, I'd hang a deal more comfortable. Well, the hat was found for your man Tieg, and they placed it upon his head. And the moment they placed it on his head, he said, Clip, clap, for my wee red cap, I wish I were home. Whoosh, he flew above the 2 dumbfounded guards, whooshed out through the great hall doors, whoosh. He was alone in his cabin. The turf fire was burnt down low. The door was tight barred. The hands of the clock were still. He went to the window. There were no wee lights. He looked to see if he could see any down the path, but there were none. And he was going back to his seat when he heard a child's voice singing, "'Tis well that ye mind ye who sit by the fire, for the Lord he was born in a dark and cold byre." And your man Tieg called out, "Wait ye! Whoever ye are, wait!" And he went over to the corner where he had the gold buried. He started digging like the terrier going after the bone. He dug up the gold and he went over. He unbarred the door. Help me out here. He unbarred the door. Would you help me out? Unbar the door. He unbarred the door. He opened it. And there was Cassie, the miller's wee daughter. Hey, Cassie.
Hi, Cassie.
And your man Tieg looked at, "Oh, Cassie, you have a beautiful voice. A beautiful voice. Here. I want you to do a favour for me now. I want you to take that. All right, I want you to go to the widow Donnelly. Give that to her. She needs that right away. No, don't go yet. Come back. All right. All right. Then okay. Here. Take the rest of it. Just take it all. And I want you to go down to Jamie's store. Knock on the door. He's probably asleep. I don't care. You wake him up. He won't mind when you tell him, because you wake him up and you tell him to bring everything that's edible, everything that's drinkable, and to bring it to your man Tieg's place this night, for I'm keeping the feast, all right? Then I want you to sing. I told you have a beautiful voice, girl. I want you to go through this village and I want you to sing to one and all. And you tell them all to be coming here to Tieg's place this night, for we're going to be keeping the feast. All right, you got it? No, don't go yet. Don't go yet. Yeah. There, that's in your pocket. That's for your troubles. All right, there you go. Widow Dudley's first. Don't forget that now, girl. All right, then over to Jamie's son, and then sing it out. All right, very good. And then standing at the threshold of his own door, your man Tieg made a hall of his 2 hands, and he called out across the road, "Hey there, Barney! Will you be coming over for a sup?" And that's a story from Ireland, a Christmas story from Ruth Sawyer, from a tinker, from myself, to all of you. Merry Christmas.